Instagram
@Power 108.9
and Facebook
@Power 108.9.
It's the exact same thing. It's at Power 108.9.
Okay.
Power 108.9, a station for the people.
Yo, it's Michael McFadden of Power 108.9, and I want to ask you a question. Are you looking for a new house? If so, you need to holler at our guy, the mortgage guy, Alvin Jameson. AlvinJameson.com. Yeah, Alvin like the chipmunk, and Jameson like that fine whiskey. Not only can he help you on the purchase of that new home, he can also assist you on that refinance as well. So whether it's FHA, conventional, and of course that VA home loan that you sitting on right now, yo, call Alvin Jameson. 404-587-9033. Once again, 404-587-9033. Trust the guy we trust here at Power 108.9. Alvin Jameson. AlvinJameson.com, or just call him 404-587-9033. And of course, tell him you heard it right here on Power 108.9. Let's go.
The opinions and views expressed by this program are those of the program host, and guest, and do not necessarily reflect the views of Power 108.9 and its officials. We hope you enjoy.
From Christal with love, come on. From Christal with love, come on. Let's talk. Look here, I ain't the type that be writing love letters. I'm more clever by putting you and I together.
From Christal with Love XO. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. Hope everybody is back and feeling themselves after the weekend and a productive Monday. If you are tuning in on Facebook, hello, good morning, good afternoon, all that great stuff. And also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you like and share and subscribe to this channel. We have more coming, more interviews, more events. I actually have a huge announcement today. I am hosting my very first event for couples based from Christal with Love. It's all for couples. The event is titled Love Virtually, and I am super excited. It's happening in October. I've always done stuff in October, I guess, because it's my birthday month, and that's kind of like my new year. But I've been talking about relationships for quite a while, interviewing people on all these different shows and having these great conversations. And so now we are doing the first ever Love Virtually here in Atlanta. Hey. I actually can announce the guests. I have two guests, two couples so far, and we have some other announcements that are coming after that. But we have Rashid and Simone from Ready to Love Houston that recently got engaged. I don't know if you guys are following their pages, but they recently got engaged. And then we also have Camille and Cornelius from DC are going to be there. So trust me, it's going to be a great event. October 22nd at ATL. Here in College Park, Georgia. I'll be sharing more information, but I've been working really hard to kind of put this together with my team, and I'm excited to finally be able to bring love virtually. It's the pursuit of affection from reality TV to real life, because we know that now everyone's looking for love, and people for some reason are looking to television. It's like, I want to find love, but I want to go on TV to find it. Or like, I want to find love, but I'm going to go online. So this event is basically talking about how we look at relationships. A lot of people want the look. They want the hashtag relationship goals. They want the goals, but they don't actually know how to do the semantics of real life, right? How does love look in a real life, your situation, your dynamic, not what you saw on TV, not what it looked like for Sierra and Russell. Everybody like, I want to pray the prayer that Sierra prayed. Well, Russell Wilson is one guy. There's not another Russell Wilson. There's another amazing guy out there for you, but it may not be Russell Wilson. So Love Virtually is happening October 22nd. I am also excited about the Women in Wine weekend that is coming up August 12th through the 15th. My panel actually is going to be Love Goals, going to be on the 14th. We're going to tape it for the show. It's going to be super dope. I have some amazing couples that are going to be a part of that. We have Letitia and Marceau from Love and Marriage Huntsville. Just a lot of surprises. We actually have another guy from from Ready to Love DC coming. So make sure that you go to the womeninwinefestival.com to find more information out. They have a bunch of panels. They've got parties happening. There's like an all-white party. opportunity to, get your networking on, get your socializing on, get your, come out, take pictures with some of the celebrities. Dr. Jackie, Dr. Heavenly, and a few other people from Atlanta are going to be there as well. So it's going to be a great weekend. So you guys make sure to check that out. I need to have the founder for Women in Wine weekend, the Women in Wine Festival, come in and hang out one Tuesday prior to the weekend, because there's a lot of conversation going on about it. I'm excited because this panel, we're going to just be real. I have Mr. Let Go is going to join me for one of the sessions. And then, we're just going to have a good time. It's going to be a good time. And I think August is like that last bit of summer. Like, you got to squeeze all the fun out of your summer. So if you don't have plans, make sure that you are in Atlanta August 12th through the 15th. Is that last, we're wrapping down the hot girl summer, ladies. So that's the perfect place to do that. So I am excited about that. I am excited. Also, what else is going on? I had great interviews on yesterday. If you guys had a chance to check out, I don't know if you guys have seen the show Johnson. It's on Bounce TV. I had an opportunity to talk with the entire cast last night, and this is the second time. We talked with them when the show first premiered last year, and the show stars Thomas Jones, a retired professional football player, Deji Ray, who was an amazing director and actor, producer and writer, Philip Smythe, and Derek Brady, and they are all just amazing guys. The show is really, to me, why I love it so much is because the show is it's all about Black men, but it's from Black men's perspective, right? And I think there's so much conversation about what guys think all the time. And we hear some men speaking on social media from one perspective, but this show actually is it's like a girlfriend's version for men, right? That was one of my favorite shows back in the 90s. Tracy Ellis Ross, Golden Brooks, Jill Marie Jones, Persia White, just classic. So this is like the flip version of that. If you were to have girlfriends for men, and you actually get a chance to see the different personalities, how they act with each other, how they interact with each other. And you get to see them, talking about topics that are really impactful and really on trend for what's going on right now. One of the characters is married to a white woman, and so his friends are definitely giving him a hard time. And we see him kind of struggling with realizing that, he has a commitment and responsibility to his community, even though he's very successful in his life. He felt like his life didn't necessarily include some of the issues that other African Americans are dealing with. We see him going through that. And I think that's a conversation that we've always had. Like Kanye said, when you get on, you're going to leave your ass for a white girl. Well, in this show, one of the characters, he got on, he was raised in humble beginnings, goes to Ivy League college and becomes successful and gets a white woman. And so they deal with that. There's another couple that is, they're in divorce, actually going through divorce, and you see the strained relationship between the mother and the father, and the little boy kind of being torn in the middle, and the mother saying, you don't have to get, it's just that whole dynamic that we all know happens. And we usually hear the narrative from the woman's side. So if you haven't already, make sure that you check out Johnson. Is on Bounce TV, and the show actually broke records last season. I think the show is really underrated because people just don't know. A lot of people don't know that it's there. That definitely is deserving of some big time awards. Great writing, great production, and just great cast. Also executive produced by I know D.L. Hughley and Cedric the Entertainer are a part of that show. And usually when you have heavy hitters like that are a part of your project, they usually kind of overshadow, the rest of the cast, because people are really tuning in to see them. But in this situation, we see DL and Ced kind of, play that OG role where they give advice. Sometimes you'll see the guys come in and talk to them, but the stars of the show are clearly the four guys, all with the last name Johnson, and it's a great show. So check that out. I also had the opportunity to interview Angel Brinks, stylist, just fashion stylist extraordinaire. She styled everybody from Rihanna to Cardi B, Lil' Kim, and so many more, and makes, clothes designs clothes for average women as well. But she's a little powerhouse there on Basketball Wives. Crazy show, very dramatic. She's a sweetheart because I asked her how did she feel being pregnant on Basketball Wives, and the women still fighting around her, and she was like, "Oh, I don't think they really realized I was pregnant." But I'm like, girl, if they're your friends, they shouldn't be throwing bottles and things around you. So anyway, check out that interview. Great time with her. Great getting a chance to kind of talk to her and hear her perspective on styling. She gave me some tips for women as you're trying to find your personal style. So it's a great time. Check out that interview. It's also on my YouTube channel if you haven't seen it. What else is going on? We are, like I said, wrapping up the summer. I have a guest coming in today. We're going to talk about Black Writers Weekend. I have been friends with Tamika Newhouse, who is my guest today, for probably a little over a decade. And I am so proud of this sister. She founded the African American Book Club Association years ago, and she would have this huge AAMBC awards. That has transitioned to Black Writers Weekend, and it's gotten even bigger, and there's so much coming up with that weekend here in a couple of weeks. And so Tamika is going to join me, and we're going to talk all about writing, all about her personal journey. I think writers especially are always, it's great to hear like what's going on in their life, because usually so much of that is reflected in their work. And so being an author myself, I know that depending on where I am in life and what I have going on is usually where the space is, the space that I'm in, right? So I look forward to hearing her feedback. I know she just came back from Greece, so we want to hear all about that trip and all about this weekend and all the amazing things. If you have interest in writing for television, if you're interested in writing books, producing, or just being around creatives and being part of a production, you definitely want to check out the Black Writers Weekend right here in Atlanta, Georgia. So much coming, so much happening. So make sure that you stay locked in for that. I'm excited about our Moment of Hope. We have an all new Moment of Hope from Pastor Dwight Buckner, who's going to be joining us here in a couple of weeks. And if you guys remember, we met Pastor Buckner when he starred on Married at First Sight a few seasons ago, the season here in Atlanta. And since that time, I've watched his ministry, and it continues to grow. He has a new book out. So we're trying to get him to be a part of Love Virtually as well, because I think hearing men that really speak to marriage and what it's supposed to be and the benefit of partnership is so important. So stay tuned, because of course, as always, we have a Moment of Hope from Pastor Dwight Buckner that's coming up later in the show. Other than that, we want to hear from you guys. Let us know what type of guests you would love for us to have here on From Christal with Love XO. I love talking about relationships, but we also want to make sure that we are supporting our community and supporting making sure that we inform people about things that they need to know. So all of that is coming up. Stay tuned. We're going to come right back, and I'm going to, like I said, welcome my guest, Tamika Newhouse, writing for film, for books, for television, all that is happening. Stay tuned. This is From Christal with Love. We'll be right back.
Question: what's the only station where you can get R&B, hip hop, pop, and talk radio? Time's up.
Power 108.9, a station for the people.
If you're a content creator, social media socialite, influencer, or simply love to record current events, you need the joystick. The joystick is an essential tool for every type of digital content creator. It holds 2 or more mobile phones or tablets, allowing users to stream and record hands-free on multiple apps simultaneously. And it's lightweight and portable. For more information or to purchase your joystick today, visit our website at www.joystick.com.
Yo, it's Michael McFadden of Power 108.9, and I want to ask you a question. Are you looking for a new house? If so, you need to holler at our guy, the mortgage guy, Alvin Jameson. AlvinJameson.com. Yeah, Alvin like the chipmunk and Jameson like that fine whiskey. Not only can he help you on the purchase of that new home, he can also assist you on that refinance as well. So whether it's FHA, conventional, and of course that VA home loan that you sitting on right now, yo, call Alvin Jameson, 404-587-9033. Once again, 404-587-9033. Trust the guy we trust here at Power 108.9. Alvin Jameson, AlvinJameson.com, or just call him 404-587-9033. And of course, tell him you heard it right here on Power 108.9. Let's go.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Malik McFadden, and did you know that you can listen to Power 108.9 24/7? Just visit the website, power1089.com, or simply say, Alexa, play Power 108.9. Yeah.
Alexa, play Power 108.9, and we are back. We are back with From Christal with Love. Welcome back. Like I said, we're going to talk about writing and all that goes into that. There's the Black Writers Weekend that's coming up here in Atlanta, and I have here with me the founder of Black Writers Weekend. But beyond just the founder of Black Writers Weekend, she's also a best-selling author of a gazillion books, a publisher. You know, you published other people's books, and you know, the creator of Traces Amika, so much. Like, I don't even know how to introduce you. I don't have a written bio, but you do a lot. And most importantly, you just got back from Greece.
Yes, girl. I had my cheeks online for the first time.
You did. You did. I saw them.
Yeah, I've been working on, a little something. Just trying to get it together, tighten up a little bit.
Now, were you working on showing off the cheeks or working on feeling comfortable enough to show them in their ready-made state?
I definitely had no intentions of showing the cheeks.
Okay.
That was not the plan.
Okay.
But you in Greece, so you can walk around and kind of be free. So I'm like, hey, why not? Cheeks looking kind of good, So, it's the first time for everything, mm-hmm. and yeah, it felt like free.
It felt like you were supposed to do
maybe
it.
Tamika 5 years ago, probably not, but.
I think Tamika a couple years ago, because I think the cheeks have been threatening to be shown, because there's been some gym. I've seen some shots of you in the gym working on them. I know you were working on getting the cakes together.
Yes, I had a badunkadunk challenge one time because my thing was flat, girl. I don't know what was going on. It was real flat. So I started a badunkadunk challenge, but folks wouldn't stick to it. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just keep it going.
What is involved in a badunkadunk challenge?
So there are a series of squats and like lunges and things that we have to do every day.
Okay.
And so now I've taken up boxing. And so that has made it way more fun.
But is it on your cheeks though?
Yeah, well, this boxing I do, it's like a full body workout.
Okay.
So when I'm doing, each section,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing exercises in between.
Okay, you're squatting. So
I'm squatting, I'm lunging, I'm doing like they call them, where you jump on the ground and hop back up.
Oh, the burpees?
Like the burpees.
The burpees.
I hate them.
Yeah.
I hate them. I'm doing those. I'm doing the jump squats, the jump lunges. Girl, I'm doing everything.
And this is all to build the butt?
To build the body. I'm just trying to, be all nice and toned everywhere.
I understand. It seems like you
I don't have hip itch and stuff either, so I'm trying to build that too.
I have all of that, and
yes, you do. I always ask, can I borrow some?
I would gladly give you some, because I am trying
it's
to
like
do
perfect
opposite
and stuff.
things.
Like a little perfect little.
I'm trying to do the opposite.
A peach and an apple put together.
I'm trying to do the opposite of that.
I'm just trying to get to the apple part.
But you know what's so funny though? I think women we always want what we don't have.
This is true.
Because you have long legs.
Yeah.
And I don't really have any legs.
Yeah, that's one of my best assets, actually, is my legs.
Yeah.
I like my legs. But it didn't lead to no thighs, though.
But why do we need everything? Like, we can't have everything.
We cannot.
We can't. I was talking this morning because I'm trying to, in the spirit of building a body, I'm trying to get to where working out is just it's not something I think about. Like, I don't want to do another challenge. I don't want to do a beginning of the year a resolution or none of that, because what happens is you do that for a certain amount of time, because I'll be in my zone, like you posting, you showing, you working out, you doing, and then you do it for a certain amount of time, and then I have like lulls, right? Yeah. So I don't want to have lulls anymore. I want to make it a part of my lifestyle. So I was asking Jamal, what does he do? Because he's one of them people that work out all. That's just like it's just like breathing. Like, we go out of town.
I like to eat. He likes to
Yes,
work out.
me
Okay.
too. Yes.
Yeah.
So like, so I was like, how do you make working out a part of your life like that?
Well, you see me when I used to be really fat. Like I was a fat girl, y'all. I'm still a fat girl at heart. I still like
You're
to
not
eat
a fat
and stuff.
girl in person, but you were
Yeah.
you were heavier. You were heavier.
I was fat. Let's call it what it was. I was fat. And then my skin was so blotchy, so I was just unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I really worked on being a healthier version of me because I started my writing career really young and I was achieving a lot of things, but the way I was going and living, I wasn't going to be here to see it.
Yeah.
And so for me, my whole thing was finding something that I enjoyed.
Okay.
And so I would switch it up every few months too. Mm-hmm. And I'm a nature girl, so I like to do hikes and things like that. So for me, it's more of a spiritual thing when I'm working out. And if I'm angry and stuff, I'm frustrated.
You take it out.
I can take it out on that, and it has become a part of just my life, not to look good,
right?
But
in addition to
that's like the bonus.
Okay,
like looking good is the bonus. But
I like that.
Your body on the inside needs to be healthy. Your heart needs to be healthy. Your organs need to be healthy. Taking in your water, getting enough sleep,
right?
All those things, your stress level, bring that down. All that really factors into being a healthy person. So.
Right.
I mean, I shout out to all the ladies that's, getting the enhancements and stuff because, I'm going to get me a little breast lift one day too, Some things you can't get in the gym.
You can't get in the gym.
You can't get breasts in the gym.
You cannot get breasts in the gym.
I mean, but everything else, I really want to be overall healthy and natural. That's just my journey, so.
No, I love that. I love that. And I think that, like I was saying before you came, as a writer, I relate to the idea of like everything that you're going through, if you can share that, it helps. Like, it helps you like to be able to like put that down. So whatever I'm dealing with, that's always reflected in the work that I do. When you started so early, because I know you were married, you were a young mom, so there was a lot that you had on you. So writing had to be a form of escape, right?
Yeah, it definitely was. Unfortunately, for a lot of Black women, we don't get a lot of chances to heal and to take a breather. Like life happens and we have to just keep going and pushing through. And sometimes, unfortunately, we're taking care of our children for the most part by ourselves. And, Chris, we've shared this journey. We've talked about this over the years, a lot of times. And for me, my writing did help me, kind of be able to control something because I couldn't control life. I couldn't control what other people were doing, what other people say. And I was a mom. That's not something that you clock in and clock out of. It's like 24/7. And my children now, I have one that's grown and one that's almost grown, and parenting still ain't stopped.
Oh, it's not stopped. Mine are all the way grown. It's. Let me just tell you, it's not. It's not.
Can I
stopped.
get a day off or
Never.
something? So I had to find a way where I was tapping into something that was just for me. And granted, it was not easy, but it's not impossible.
Right.
And that's why I would like for ladies to understand, like, even though you may be juggling a marriage or a relationship or your children or work, you can manage to find time to fit in things for you. Maybe not every day.
Right.
But at some point, you have to tap into something that feeds you and that builds you and that makes you happy because you are an individual too.
Right. And you deserve, and I think a lot of times we don't think that we deserve to focus on us. I can say even still in doing this, I had COVID a couple weeks ago.
Ooh.
And I was like,
wait, you
I was
clean?
really
You
sick.
good?
I'm good now.
You said
I'm
a
good
couple
now.
weeks though.
I know. No,
you still
I'm
in that
good.
window?
No, I'm out of the window. I'm negative, and I've been to the doctor a couple times to make sure everything is good. That's so funny when you talk
I'm
about
just
that.
saying, man, I'm trying to live my best life.
No, but in that I realized like I need to make some changes and even focus more on myself, right? Because I'm not getting enough. I need to make sure, like I was saying, making exercise a part of my life. And I took off, so I started to like take off a certain amount of time that was just for me. But I even feel guilty doing that because it's like, what about
who
the
you feel
film?
guilty about? Who is gonna be mad at you?
I don't know. I think it's just I feel like answering emails and being responsive and being available is important. It's more important than taking the time out for myself. So when I do that's a struggle for me, even today.
Okay, so process it like this, because when I was even in my lowest moments and I needed to be saved, nobody was there. No one picked me up. No one was coming to say, all right, Meek, I'm going to carry you for a couple months and pay your bills. I got you. I'm going to hold you while you cry.
No one is coming.
Like, no one is coming, right? So when I began to get out of that dark space, I began to fight for Mika. Because
Yeah.
that's not fair. Like, Mika, I'm going to treat you better. I'm going to give you the things that nobody else is going to give you.
Right.
And if you are not treating yourself the way that you want others to treat you, how can you expect that from other people?
There you go.
So do you like yourself or not? Do you love yourself or not? What we doing? That's why I be asking people, like, what we doing? I guess if you don't love yourself, then don't be asking me for
can't
nothing.
expect nobody else to love you.
Yeah,
That's true.
so
That's true.
I'm going to say this, Christal. Don't be feeling guilty, because at the end of the day, we are born alone. And when it's that last day, we're going to be by ourselves, and God is going to be talking to us. So whatever you got to do to find that balance for your happiness and the things that you enjoy, girl, do that. That's why I said, that's why I was in Greece and my cheeks out.
In Greece with the cheeks out. I love that. And that's why we're
I need to make that like a little book or a blog or something. In Greece with my cheeks out. I like that.
Let's talk about Black Writers Weekend. After she
Okay.
comes back from Greece with the cheeks out.
Yes.
Black Writers Weekend, and I love the fact that you did Greece, and then you did Essence.
Yeah.
And
I flew straight from Athens, Greece to New Orleans. That was a long ass flight.
It was a long flight, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But it was like you getting out this, and then you're preparing for it, because we know putting on an event, this is a week of events, is very stressful. So let's talk about Black Writers Weekend happening here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah. So Black Writers Weekend, first, let me just say, I used to didn't like people like that, like a lot, because they was mean and very entitled.
They can be.
And I've gotten to the place of where I don't allow people to project that energy on me. So I really now really enjoy producing Black Writers Weekend.
Okay.
So essentially, y'all, it is a literary arts festival that blends book writers and filmmakers in one space. And we have these conversations around their art, not technically just talking about the book. Like, what is your book about? Oh, well, why did you write this character? And what character do you really? Those are boring. So I really dive in deep into their creativity, into their experience, and we find some type of correlation with the audience and them.
Okay.
To make it fun, to make it inviting, to make it impactful, because I want people to be tuned in.
Yeah.
When they are actually,
There, right?
Yeah, there,
Present,
like
right.
And I try not to have speakers on the panels that is so caught up in talking about how they did it and how they made it, because that's not what we're here for. That's great. That's why you on the stage. We know you made it. We know you're doing something, but how is that going to impact the audience that I'm bringing to you? And so we also do movie screenings. We have parties and socials. This year we got a rooftop party, girl. I'm so excited about that.
I always calls for a cute outfit. Yeah.
I know. I'm gonna have. Well, I ain't gonna have my cheeks
your
out, but I'm gonna have my thighs out though. My thighs gonna be out. I'm gonna show a little cleavage and stuff. Maybe some back meat. Just a little bit of something. Got to be semi-professional.
Not the back meat.
Yeah, just the back meat. You got to express your roles and stuff. You got to embrace everything. So so we're gonna have a rooftop party. We're going to our book bash. We're gonna bring that back, and we're actually gonna be paying homage to Terry McMillan.
Oh my God!
Because I'm actually honoring her on Sunday at the AAMVC Awards, which is the
excited.
finale event of the weekend. So the award show is basically our Grammys. Writers get to dress up and then, in their gala attire, they get to come out and look fly, walk the red carpet. I have actual mainstream media there almost every year when I try to do this, because, writers tend to get left behind. They tend to forget that we are artists too.
Yeah.
So I always try to present my events like the film industry would or the music industry would, and make them be like the rock stars that they are, y'all. So it's it's 3 days of master classes, pitch sessions, panels, book signings, parties, socials, and then you get to walk the red carpet and stuff.
Well, it's phenomenal. I've been involved most of the years that you've had it.
Yes,
here.
you have. And every time I ask you, Chris, can you be on? Yes.
I'm always
I'll be putting her on stuff, y'all.
I'm always gonna come through. You're someone I consider an actual real friend outside of what we do.
Yes,
and
yes,
I'm
indeed.
really I have seen your journey. Like, I've watched. This has been a long road.
I know, girl. We've been knowing each other for a long time. I'm starting to feel old and stuff, because I think I met you maybe, I don't know, 22, 23 is when we probably started talking, and I hadn't even transitioned into Atlanta yet. I'm 36 now.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It was a long time.
That's a long time.
You were not. I think when we initially talked, because I worked for Barnes and Noble.
That's right.
And
I remember that.
And I'm not going to say that year. That was not even that. I'm not going to say that year. But I've been able to, I think the beautiful part about being a woman is a lot of times there's so much more in us than we even realize, right? Ourselves. I don't know about men because I'm not a man, so I can only speak to being a woman. So I see the it's like a flower blossoming.
Yes.
Especially when you come into that sense of I'm good in my own skin. And I think with you, I can see that. And I love the fact that you allow others, not just your friends, but others to see and share that journey.
Yeah.
How has being transparent and sharing some of, your, and being vulnerable, with your audience helped you become stronger? Because I've watched you do that, especially like with your podcast, Traces and Mika. Like, it was even a more intimate look into your life. So how has being vulnerable helped you?
Being vulnerable has helped me because it's almost like I was upset at my experiences. Like, God was testing me in every way. And for me, it just got to make sense. I grew up a PK kid. So those who don't know, a preacher's kid. And so praying was very heavily taught in my life. Being spiritually strong was like the go-to growing up. And so when God was dealing me all these cards where I picked the wrong person to marry and have children with, I was picking the wrong folks to put on and publish. They was ungrateful and rude and mean and liars. Like, I can go on and on and on. And then, when we're parents, we're raising our children, and sometimes our children feel like we supposed to be doing all these things. I ain't got to do nothing. I ain't like, I don't have to do like half of the things I've done. And so when I started, experiencing a lot of darkness, I took it upon myself to share this, to share it out. It was a way for me to purge that energy and that spirit, but also to gain more understanding. Especially when I travel and I began to meet other people that say, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I was doing everything I've ever wanted to do while I was going through the storm in the wilderness. I'm like, okay, if there's something that you want to do, then why aren't you doing it? Like, that just doesn't make any sense to me. So me talking about my experiences is for me to kind of help other people see that you can do it too. The only person that's causing you not to do it is you.
That's a huge
like
lesson.
Dreams really isn't technically a dream. It's not something you can fantasize about. Dreams are something that you can actually manifest and it can become true. You discover the steps, you discover the resources to make them happen, and you do the work.
Right.
It's really that
simple as that, right?
And if you don't want to do the work, then I'd be like, okay, well, what are we complaining about? Because obviously this is the life that you want. Like, I don't be getting it. Like, people, it's easy. It's like 1 + 1 = 2, stuff like that. Like, if you want to do it, do it. And if not, then find something to channel your energy and stop complaining about things that are not.
There you go.
Yeah.
Stop complaining. I agree 100%. I felt like I was raised, I was born in Ohio, but raised in Oklahoma. And so that's where I was. That's
Ohio, Oklahoma, of all the states, y'all.
I don't know. My mom, she just, I don't know why she would drive. She would take, and she drove. She was like, she got out of a bad relationship and got some foresight. She drove from Ohio to Oklahoma. I'm like,
that was the place.
Why would
y'all.
we do that? Why would we?
That's
right. But so I was raised in Oklahoma. I'm actually Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was Black Wall Street. It was, and I was supposed to be there because the experience that I had growing up in that city, I went to an amazing magnet. I was an amazing magnet program there. Went to Booker T. Washington High School, which I know there's Booker T. Washington's every place, but this one was special. But what I learned from that school and from that experience was really to celebrate the uniqueness of being a Black girl at that time, and that was not something that back in those days was really popular. Like, TV didn't look like it looks now. We've talked about how there was colorism. There was so many different things that being a Black woman was you would see Black women, but they looked all like Halle Berry or Sherry Riley. They didn't look like us.
They didn't look like us.
Not the ones on television. You know what I mean? So it was an interesting.
And we say
experience.
us, y'all, we mean dark skin because we cute.
We
get it
cute
twisted.
is cute though.
Yeah.
Cute is not a color. Like, cute has no color.
But they didn't show dark girls, which is why in my books, all of my lead ladies are dark skinned.
We talked about that. We actually I did a special on that, and you helped me with that, going and talking to a group of high school girls, and that was really. And I wish more people saw that, because we actually took out, and I know we're getting off track, but this is my friend, so we can do that.
Right.
But I actually wrote down all the lyrics, the hip hop lyrics that address color when it comes to women, and there were so many references of beauty that connected red bone or yellow with beauty, and then absent of
straight hair,
long curly real hair and all that stuff. And we talked to a group of high school girls, and you realize that it's not just music, it affects people, it shapes people. But I also think that's why being a writer is so important, because I know for me growing up, writing was my escape. And I think to kind of piggyback on what you said earlier, the time that the first book that I got published was a book that I wrote because my father had died from an overdose and I was out of control. Like there was no way to reckon with that. There was no closure for that. There was nothing I could do besides just put it all the anger, because I was angry. I mean, someone dies and you're still angry at them. There's no place for that to go. So it all went into this book. And that was the first book that I got published. But it was, if not for that tragedy, Under the Cherry Moon.
Girl, I always be calling it Cherry Blossom.
Under the Cherry Moon. And it was because of, I just didn't know what to do with that pain. There was no place for it to go.
Yeah.
You know?
I think, and, you know, we have a similar story, too, because with my first book that I published, I wrote it 6 weeks after my mother took her last breath in front of me. And I was upset with her for quite a long time because, lady, you was only 52. You really could have stuck around at least get about 10, 15 more years. And then as I got older, I realized that I really need a mother more so than a child. I really need her more as an adult. Like, honestly, like really dealing with people and relationships and jobs and motherhood. Like, it's so many things that I really needed, you know, parental guidance on, and she wasn't there. And I had to really figure out these things on my own. And so writing was a really good escape for me. Now, granted, I wasn't writing about, you know, beautiful thing. I was writing about love and drama and, you know, erotic stories and stuff. That was fun and stuff. Like, I wrote about things I could control versus, you know, tapping into my own reality. And sometimes, you know, that's a good thing. Other times it may not, but we were able to profit and make money off our pain. So I guess it worked out.
Amen. Well, you know, I was working at Barnes & Noble as a community relations manager and writing at home for fun. Writing was just not something I got paid for. That was my piece. And I remember my ex-husband at the time said, he looked up in the closet and I had like 4 books, because I would write hand on a piece of notebook paper. That's how the books were. So they were like written out and then in a binder on the shelf. And he was like, why is there like all this money in the closet? Like you just, just, and I was like, oh, and he was like, well, why don't you try to get your book published like all the authors that because I would set up, my job was to set up book signings. So I met Terry McMillan and all these amazing people that I had looked up to. I had the opportunity to create their book tours with Barnes & Noble. And that is during the time, that was in the 90s when the Black writers boom happened. It was like, you know, almost like a envisioning of the Harlem Renaissance. So it's like, I mean, it was Terry McMillan, it was Omar Tyree, all these different, Mary Morrison, all these different, and
Zane, Eric Jerome Dickey.
So many, Jewel Rose, so many authors were killing it. And it became apparent that our stories were, we wanted to support our stories. Yeah. So how were you inspired? Who were some of the writers that inspired you? Because I definitely, we share Terry McMillan. Like, I just,
that's a given. Like she was the main reason why I said I was going to move to Atlanta and become a full-time writer. And then Eric Jerome Dickey, his stories inspired me to tell more stories like that. Like he's one that made me fall in love with reading. And then Fly Girl was one of those books that really tapped into my spirit and my soul. And I eventually kind of wrote a book that kind of, you know, complements Fly Girl. So it was, those writers were the ones for sure that really, really inspired me. But then when I got into the space of the publishing world, it was a lot of independent writers that inspired me, because when I came into it, I had no idea that you could publish your own book. I didn't even know anything about self-publishing. And so for those writers, they began to, you know, inspire me. And that's when I took on that whole journey and said, okay, well, I'm going to do this too. But definitely Terry, definitely Eric, those are my main two that inspired me. And then myself, I inspire myself.
I inspire myself. I'm not mad at that. Sometimes you have to, like, I tell people all the time, one of my favorite proverbs is an African proverb that says, physician, heal thyself. And I write that on any place I go, if I have a new office or new space, because I think all the gifts that we have, that we need to achieve our dreams, are already in there. You just have to tap into that greatness within yourself and then recognize that. You know what I mean?
I tell people there's a reason why we all look different. There's a reason why none of our DNA matches. We are all uniquely made. That means we all have a unique purpose or unique talent. and it's up to us to tap into that.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse in saying, "Oh, I don't know what I want to do," or "I'm not special." But if that's the case, God would never made you.
Yeah. You know what? If you all are looking for excuses, Tamika's not going to give you anything.
Girl, that's why my dog's like, "I'm about to go live with my daddy." I'm like, "Okay, well, you be back. See you soon."
But you know what? I think being a parent does teach you, especially being a mother teaches you. First of all, what you said earlier is true. There's so many of us that do that there's this idea that we almost want to spoil our children and give them things. But the thing about the thing that made you who you are is the fact that you did not have that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we forget with our kids, we are taking away the very ingredient that gave us our tenacity and our inability to give up. And that was the will to fight through it. You know, you knew that I knew that there was no one coming. You know, I remember thinking, I'm going to have to take care of my mom. You know what I mean? And potentially my brother. So there's nobody coming, you know, where I know my kids know that if I call mom, she got me, you know.
Girl, yeah. Mine too. But, you know, that's why, you know, me and my daughter, I talk about this on my podcast, y'all. Traces of Mika. Y'all can go check that out. It's very raw and vulnerable. It's really heavy too. And I'm very honest with my journey with motherhood. I ain't like it.
Yeah.
It was, for me, one of the most hardest journeys I ever had to experience. And so when my daughter got older, she didn't really want to listen. And I felt like, you know, maybe I'm a big part of that problem too, because I exposed my children to so much. You know, I by 23, I was making six figures. I quit my job. I dropped out of school, and they was on the road with me. So they were meeting like the Terry McMillans.
Yeah.
They was meeting like the Kimberly Joneses and the Christal Jordans. They met all of y'all, and so they seen greatness. And so for them, that's the norm. And so when I saw them become a little bit entitled and little brats and stuff, and I get mad and stuff, but that was my doing. So when my daughter was 16, we had this whole disagreement. She want to talk smack at the mouth and stuff. So I said, all right, go stay with your daddy.
That's the age that it happens. That's
so y'all know the scene in Boys in the Hood, right? When the mama take Trey to go live in, that was me with my daughter. Dropped her ass right in the hood. Bye. See you later.
That's, you know, I think every parent has that moment where you realize that what I've created, these are monsters that I've created. I will say, I think my kids at first, because I got married early and everything was going really well, and so I went through a divorce, and then the climate and culture of our lives changed a lot, and I think that experience, and I also had ovarian cancer. My kids worked through that, saw me through that as well. And I think them going through the rock bottom with me, because they were 9 and 12 when they had to, our lives totally changed. I think it gave them a different sense of understanding and empathy that I appreciate in them, right?
Yeah.
Because they know, you know, where they went from having everything to having nothing. And I remember them saying, we would rather stay here with you than go live someplace else and have stuff. So I think that kind of balanced out what could have been, very entitled kids. But I know we do that because so many of us grew up without, right? And so that's our natural instinct, is I don't want my kids to have to deal with this. But, you know, life is about lessons, and I think everybody has to learn their own lesson. If I had to learn my own, my mom couldn't learn it for me. My daughter's gonna have to learn her own.
That's why mine in Texas. Hi, Deja, I love you and stuff.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with the moment of hope from Pastor Dwight Buckner, and then I want to...
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been cussing this up. Sorry, Pastor.
No, Pastor's not... He's not here today.
Oh, okay.
He's sending in a word. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm safe.
It's okay. We're going to come back with Pastor Dwight Buckner with the moment of hope, and then we're going to talk more with Tamika and more about where you can sign up. Make sure that you're going to be in the building for Black Writers Weekend. Stay there. This is From Christal with Love. We'll be right back.
Keep it locked. Power 108.9, the station for the people.
Welcome to a moment of hope with Pastor Dwight. I want you to understand, this year, God is going to literally shock the world with you. If you have not heard, or you may not understand, you have been greatly undervalued. And God is going to use everything they did to you for your advantage to take you higher and higher. You are God's chosen vessel. I would like to call you the fine china. God is getting ready to pull you out for a special occasion and display you. You are literally going from the back to the front. And for those who did not believe in you, for those who did not think you had what it took, God is literally about to raise you up and shock the world with you. This has been a moment of hope with Pastor Dwight.
If you're a content creator, social media socialite, influencer, or simply love to record current events, you need the joystick. The joystick is an essential tool for every type of digital content creator. It holds 2 or more mobile phones or tablets, allowing users to stream and record hands-free on multiple apps simultaneously. And it's lightweight and portable. For more information or to purchase your joystick today, visit our website at www.joystick.com.
But shout out to our friends over there at Credit Building Professionals. What up, Credit Craig?
I tried to come with you.
That's what she said. Ooh.
Oh.
Hey.
Power 108.9, a station for the people.
Hey Atlanta, this is Sayon, and you're listening to Power 108.9.
All right, we are right back. We're back with From Christal with Love XO. I'm your host, Christal Jordan. I'm excited to have my good friend Tamika Newhouse here. Tamika, before we get back into Black Writers Weekend, I like guests to leave some action items, right, that you can share with viewers, right? So I know we talked about motherhood, and what I love about you is the fact that, like we talked about, you've been vulnerable about sharing this journey. If you had to give your younger self, right, 3 action items to do that would have gotten you to this place, maybe faster than you did, maybe things that you learned along the way, what would those 3 things be?
Action items is such as, like, don't talk to that dude. Is that what you're talking about?
As like, no, just like what things you can do internally, because we all know, we all know that there's going to be some Negroes that were, or just gentlemen that we should have left where they were. But sometimes those gentlemen come with lessons.
Yeah, I ain't want that lesson.
You're talking about a specific gentleman here, I see.
Yeah, yes. You know who I'm talking about too. I don't like you. But praying more, or don't stop praying.
I like that. Okay.
Don't. Like, you always need to be talking to God and having those conversations with God. And people may be like, well, what is God, or who is God? Often, I like to say, well, God is you. Like, God is around you, especially when you look in the mirror. What do you see? Internally, how do you feel? God essentially is you. It's doing good. It's meaning well. It's holding yourself accountable. All those good things. Honestly, every religion holds the same type of moral. So whoever your God is, do that. But don't stop praying.
Okay.
Another thing is, don't stop intentionally dreaming, like trying to, everything that you have in your head and things that you want to achieve, or the places you want to go and see, like I went to Greece with my cheeks out. Like, don't stop doing those things. Try to find a way to switch it up and always create that's another one. Always create new experiences.
I like that.
Don't stick to the routine. I think people kind of get stuck, and they may kind of get into this space of unhappiness because nothing new is happening. Nothing is causing a spark to happen, because you're too stuck in this routine. And I hate routines, girl. That's why I'm still working on that whole commitment thing when it comes to relationships. So y'all pray for me in that space. But those are my things I would say.
Okay, so don't stop praying. Dream intentionally and create new experiences. That's good. And that's different, because I think a lot of people, I was interviewing Angel Brinks from Basketball Wives last night, and I asked her what advice, the same type of question, and she said that stick to what you're doing and don't let others get you caught off, right? Because I know for me, I know I've shared this story with you. My first book, the book came from the issue with my father passing, but I started sending it out to get, to see if I could get a deal. Yeah. And I remember sending it to Zane, and because I really looked up to her, and I thought she'd had all this amazing success. Zane was like on top of the world at that time. And I remember she wrote back, and she was like, you're a talented writer, but the story isn't right the way it is. You got it about one person. It should be about multiple characters. And she just basically like totally told me I should change the story. And she said if I did that she would, she would consider publishing under Strieber, which was her
Straber Books,
which she had. So that was one of my first letters, and I thought about doing that. I was like, wow, I could actually get, the idea of publishing your first book. I was like 24 years old, like this could be great. Yeah. But she wanted me to change the book, and that wasn't what I felt. That wasn't in my heart. So I turned it down. And I remember wondering, like, am I going to get another opportunity? Because I was so in awe of who she was, but I was strong enough at 24, 25 to say, no, I'm not going to change it. I didn't change it. Long story short, I ended up getting a better deal for me at that time with another publisher. And I still respected Zane, but my dream wasn't her dream. You know what I mean? And that's okay. And I think I like that idea of really dreaming intentionally, staying on your own path, and then not being afraid to create new experiences, because there's never a time in life where we should not be willing to do something different.
Yeah, there should not only, and just to piggyback off of what you just stated, for me, I like to kind of equate that to that gut feeling. Mm-hmm. Like when you know something isn't quite right, or there's not immediate like an excitement or a yes behind it, that's not what you should be. Yeah. It's often, I like to say, that's your ancestors talking to you. Like you can feel it in your spirit that something isn't right. And you have to be obedient to that feeling, because, our ancestors, sometimes you can't hear their voice. Yeah. You can't hear God's voice, but they try to connect with you or send you messages through other ways. And that gut feeling is normally like the number one way that they try to communicate with you. And if you find yourself still doing it in spite of, like, okay, I will change my story. I'll change the characters, and I'll do it your way to please you. You know how that's gonna work out?
Because I tell you what, if I had done that and that book didn't sell, I would have regretted it and resented that situation. And so it's like, if you do something that is in you and it doesn't work, it's okay, because you learned from that, and then you know that you did what was right.
And you had that experience.
But if you let someone else deter you, and Angel gave the example of people saying that they didn't like her designs and saying they were too costumey, and then later, one of the most influential designers for Balmain, same thing, very over the top, ostentatious, costumey designs. And she's like, if I had abandoned what I felt because of that, I would have been so angry later, because I was right, the whole time. And so I think that for anyone that is a creator of any type, be it music, writing, artist, if anyone, I was watching, you guys haven't seen on Netflix, Dave Chappelle's latest.
Oh yeah, I plan to watch that.
Yeah, it's very, very good. And it's good. It's not a comedy special. It's him speaking to students at the college he used to go to. And he talks about the integrity of art and how important it is for there to be the right to express art, the right to express in any way that is authentic to the artist. You can't tell someone else what their experience is or what their experience is.
And art is subjective, so everyone is not going to connect with what it is that you're saying, but everybody's not supposed to connect. Like when I meet new writers and say, oh, everybody can read my book. My girl, you don't even know yourself. Because everybody's not going to read your book. Everybody's not going to enjoy it. If you don't really understand your type of voice and the people that you're trying to connect with, then you're going to be all over the place. And when people begin to criticize your work, because you will be criticized.
Absolutely. In fact, you're not doing a good job if you're not being criticized. Yeah.
And then to connect with that, and you're going to begin to believe those things, and boom, there go your confidence. Now you're all over the place, and I don't want to create no more. I don't want to write anymore. I'm like, okay, well, I guess you don't.
What? Are you a Capricorn?
No.
Okay, I'm like,
I'm a Gemini.
Like, there it is. No, but that's true. That is true. But I think every artist goes through that process of needing to feel like maybe questioning themselves. I think that's a normal part of the process, and I think you have to do it anyway. My thing is always, do it in spite of. Some of my biggest successes have been in spite of fear, in spite of stress, in spite of extreme pain, internal
being
pain,
uncomfortable.
Being uncomfortable is in fact, if you're not uncomfortable, it's probably not the right thing.
But see, that's why I respond the way I do, and I'm like, all right, guess you don't, because when I say that,
Yeah.
And when you think about reality, like, oh, I'm not going to create anymore.
It just gives it back to you. Like,
yeah. So now it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I should keep going, because if I don't, then nothing's going to happen. So I just, I'm just straightforward.
You are straightforward.
Yeah.
Let people know, because there's an amazing group of people. If there's no one else coming besides Terry McMillan, I still need to be there.
Yeah.
There's an amazing group of people coming for Black Writers Weekend. Let people know where they can go to find out, where they can register, and how they can be a part.
Yeah, so you guys, I try to make it simple. It's blackwritersweekend.com on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, even on TikTok now. We're on TikTok now, y'all. Woo-hoo. So Black Writers Weekend, you'll be able to see, I want to say we're featuring over 50 writers this year. Tia Williams will be one of them. Greg Street, we're actually honoring him for his work in media. Jamila T. Davis, we're honoring her because she has this beautiful triumph story where I remember when she was incarcerated, when she first sent my book club her book.
I remember that.
And so now this girl, she's vibrated to a whole nother level, and she's this activist and this influencer, and her whole social scene is just elevated. I'm just so proud of her. So we're actually going to give her flowers this year as well. And then Kimberly Jones will be there. We have some independent filmmakers that will be there. We have Entice that will be presenting a panel and taking pictures for her label with Kensington that she has. I don't want to be forgetting any folks.
It's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's a lot going on, y'all. But it's a number. And Christal, of course. Christal will be there.
I'm hosting a romance panel, which I'm super excited about.
And I normally have you on the PR panel, but y'all, she evolved and stuff. She's like, I don't want to do that no more.
I done transitioned away from that. I've transitioned away from that. Praise God.
Wait, so you're not doing PR work no more?
I have given it up.
If I bug you for some stuff,
for you, because you're a friend, I still represent TLC and a few other people, because that Chilling and people are like,
that's family too.
I don't know where you going, Ladybug.
Yeah,
but, not going. But my focus is really this more of the love and relationship conversation, because I think it's so needed.
It is,
and I feel like that has been a consistent theme
with everything that you've done.
That I've always done, and so I'm really excited to be a part of that, because I grew up reading romance novels. That was my first books I wasn't supposed to be reading, that I was reading.
And I was just in love with love.
Yeah.
Like I loved everything that was telling a Black story.
But no, love, I think love is powerful.
It is.
And regardless of what type of love we're talking about, I think it's important. And I think, to me, because when you think about whatever you're doing, it needs to be impacting, right? Yeah. I think what you're doing is not helping someone else, it's not valuable, because that money only lasts so long. But that feeling and being able to empower others, and I think for everything that we have going on right now, love is the only thing
that's going to save us at the end of the day.
Save us, period. Like, just that understanding of self-love and love for each other, sisters, family, that just love and relationships are important. And I think that's the first thing that gets attacked. When I was at my lowest, I isolated myself, and it was me it's almost like you're drowning in 3 feet water. Just stand up. There's people that love you. There's people that care about you, that want to connect. You just have to be willing to do that. And so that's my vision right now. So I'm excited to talk to those authors, because that chemistry and that energy that you get from a romance book is what everyone is looking for later, right? A lot of times we paint pictures that it's hard to actually
hard to actually like live out.
Yes.
And so now, my whole thing has been romance stories all up until this point. My 18th book comes out in September, y'all. Sugar Hill 2.
Wow.
And it's probably my last romance book, if not for forever, because I'm telling different stories. I'm telling self-love stories. And I'm in this space now where when I'm by myself, when it's quiet and nobody's around, I'm at peace. I'm happy. Like, when you are a complete, full, happy individual, when you connect with your partner, which is why, Chris, I was saying, girl, I'm ready now.
We'll talk about that later. I'm not sure.
But hey, don't be doing me like that.
Your commitment.
I mean, I'm ready to date and connect.
Okay, cool.
I ain't say marriage. Now that will come.
Tamika,
that will come. But the whole
show someone the cheeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that all the cheeks, the cheeks and the hugs and the loves and the kisses and all that jazz. I'm ready for that now, because I've been in the space of getting to know Tamika, and I have been purposely single for a lot of years, just turning down every advance and invitation to because it just didn't feel right. And I felt like also that I didn't have the tools to commit and be transparent with somebody. And I just didn't want to.
Yeah, you did.
I wanted to really.
You were very clear about it. I mean,
I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I really wanted to focus on myself and do the things that I wanted to do for myself. And when you are committed to someone else, you can't just do that.
That's true.
And I've been a mom all my life now for the most part. And they became priority for me. Like my love and my attention is going to be for them and then me. So anything else in between, I was going to fall short. And I did. Yeah, sometimes I wasn't that great as a girlfriend. You know, got to own it. But, you know, I've evolved, as an adult.
I learned, because you just don't know. Because I learned in recently getting married, I thought that I was the great girlfriend, but maybe not. I've learned that there were some
maybe
things,
to them, but
Well, I think I know for myself, because when I would go, and we're getting ready to get out of here. In fact, you know what? Let me wrap up here because we are out of time.
Dang, man, this was fun.
Make sure that you all
I got to come back. We got to do some more love talk.
Yeah, we got to talk about, we're going to talk to you about something else afterwards. You don't have to come back for that. But
okay.
We're going to talk about, make sure that you guys go to Black Writers Weekend. Black Writers Weekend, make sure you join us for that. Make sure that you go to Women in Wine Festival. So much happening here in Atlanta.
Women in Wine.
Enjoy talking with you guys. As all, thank you so much for spending your lunch hour with me today. And I will be back next week, right here, same time, same place, from Christal with Love XO. Have a blessed weekend. And I'll see you guys next time.
Tired of all that baloney they force feed you on social media?
Yes.
Then get connected to Power 108.9, a station for the people. Keep it locked to Power 108.9, the station for the people.